a guy called Mike Wolfe, who used to work at Flying Nun. He was an American who came over and worked there for a while. At a point that I wasn't dealing with Flying Nun, I'd given up by that point. I didn't have anything to do with them. But I'd met Mike on the first American tour. The second show that I played was in Minneapolis, and he had a label there, Amphetamine Reptile, and I'd met him. So I knew him as Mike Wolfe from Amphetamine Reptile. Anyway, one day I got an email from him saying, you know, I'm me and Clint Simonson, the Still Records was owned by this guy called Clinton. Anyway, Mike had said, you know, do you want to put out Last Great Challenge again? And I'd had a few offers on it before, but really just for CD, and I'd had enough of CDs at that point as well. Had enough of all of it, really. So I wasn't even really interested until they said we'd do 1,000 vinyl. I'm like, really? Wow, that's commitment, you know. So at that point I was back into vinyl, because Vinyl Countdown had come along and reignited my vinyl interest. And so I agreed to it, and that came out, and they did a really good job. I don't know if everybody knows, but there's two versions of Last Great Challenge. I remastered it and slightly changed it. The third issue that Ajax did on CD. And that's my favourite version, the second version. But I was so disinterested in the whole process that I didn't even bother to specify that that's the one I'd like them to use as a master. And since most of the pressings were the other version, I just assumed that would be what I'd get. But I didn't. They sent the test pressing, and it was my preferred version. And I know which version it is when Unknown Beach comes on, because the remastered version, all I did was turn up the bass on the song Last Great Challenge and turn up the bass on Other Side of Reason, just a little bit on both. And I substituted the pile-up version of On an Unknown Beach for the version that I mixed for the album, different version. That's the only changes, everything else is the same. But nonetheless, that's my favourite version of the album, and that was the one they'd used. And I had three things happen with that album that I really, really wanted and didn't ask for any of them. I didn't ask for them to use that version of the album, but it was the one they used. I didn't ask for the labels to be like the same colour as the front cover. Like, use the white typed up label that Ajax did, but it'd be great if it was the same colour as the album. But they did it anyway. And for some reason I had it in my head that I'd like the catalogue number to be 123, and it actually was. And I didn't ask for any of that, it all just came, and it's like, something felt, and then of course Pitchfork made it album reissue of the week, which sent it everywhere, like everywhere. Just wow, off it went, further than anything I'd done before, all over the place. With these glowing reviews every time, not just most of the time, all the time. There weren't any bad ones. All based off what Mike Wolfe had written and what Pitchfork had said, and people sort of putting a bit of their own opinion in as well, but nobody said load of crap. Everybody went, you know, classic album, basically, was what they went. And suddenly I had one, out of nothing. I had a bona fide, doesn't matter where you looked, on pretty much any site that would have it there, and there were plenty that did. That's what they said. It wasn't me saying it, it was them saying it. It's like, crikey. So it just took off, and now, as I said when I was talking to you earlier, it's reached the point, there's been like 5 reissues in less than 4 years. So less than 4 years, maybe it's time to stop and take a little breather here. Like that's a very big slice of the cherry, or the pie, or whatever. It's wonderful when I see people, things like Sandra Bell's first album getting reissued. It's like, yay, you know. Bill Doreen, Beaten Hearts. And this one doesn't skip. I bought one, and Bill, I can tell you, it doesn't skip. It's been remastered and it plays really good. But yeah, I've had 5 of them. So, and of course my brother Graham. Those 2 Cake Kitchen albums that have both the first two have come back out. Way to go, brother.